Hello and welcome to Road America, Wisconsin, one of the riders' favorite tracks that we go to. This is our 4th edition of the MotoAmerica Race Line, where we help you play to win and have a chance to be part of all the MotoAmerica action along with your favorite rider. And as usual, I've got my trusted person with me today, Ben Wilson. Ben, we are here today to talk about Supersport, baggers, and Superbike, and give our fans a little something to maybe put a couple wagers on with some guys this week.
Hey, JP, great to be back with you. This is my home race, too. I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm jealous that you're out at the track. And I feel like we've got, whenever it's your home race, right, you want to perform better. We'll talk about that with the Harleys a little bit later. For the bettors, too, that also applies. We really want to give out some winners this week. But should be good weather, albeit a little bit unseasonably cool as we get into this year. Seems like we'll have sunny conditions both Saturday, Sunday. And that will be very interesting because a season ago, Jason, we saw Cameron Beaubier crash here in the Superbike session here, so I'm fascinated to get your thoughts, how you think that'll play out for this weekend.
Well, the thing about last year with Cameron Beaubier was he had got a bad start and was running back through people in a horrible conditions in the wet. And we saw him crash there in turn 1, and it ultimately compromised his season quite a bit, missing a round or two. He went back to the ridge. But I don't think we're going to have that condition this week, although, like you say, it is a little bit chilly. The weather conditions keep changing up here. Beaubier comes in here as the favorite, as we would expect it to be. And it looks to me like he's riding a little bit different this year, Ben, in the sense that he wants to be here for the full season this year, and so he's kind of planning his races that way.
What's interesting, though, we knew Beaubier would be the favorite, right, Jason? He's won 3 of the first 4 races. However, odds first came out earlier this week. He was priced in the plus 170 range. Still the favorite, but compare that to the previous 2 races. He was minus 101 in Atlanta, minus 122 at Barber. I thought plus 170 was a pretty crazy price. As much as I'm not usually someone who wants to bet a favorite, we're seeing him now at plus 118. I mean, for my money, JP, I'd probably make Beaubier about plus 105 as like a fair price here. So I actually would not go against anybody who wants to back him. And I think what you say has a lot of validity to it, which is he understands this is the track that really derailed his campaign a year ago. You got to think it's a different approach this time, and he's obviously been the fastest bike on track when we've seen him upright at every point this year.
No question. The BMW is just going to suit these long straightaways at Road America great. And I think when you look at that plus number, I agree with you also on that. The thing I also think about is Josh Herrin at plus 400, I think it was. When you look at Josh, this is the place where he puts a circle on his calendar of where his season starts. We've kind of noted that over the last 2 or 3 races, that those are not the best tracks for him and the Ducati. He has done very well, though, Ben, to score points. He's going to come into Road America here hungry. And the only thing that makes those odds a little different for me are the fact that Cameron is racing a little bit different. And if he gets into a big head-to-head duel and he wants to just collect his points, there's a chance there for Josh Herrin, I think. A new dad, again, just had twins yesterday, so he shows up here at Road America with extra motivation. This could be a weekend where you could see Josh Herrin get a win, and that plus money would be good for him.
Here's a look at the head-to-head. Josh Herrin is priced in. You mentioned it, JP. He's around 4-1 as the 3rd favorite behind Jake Gagne at plus around 350. Well, Bobby Fong is someone who has a Road America title here. He was 2nd in one of the 2 races a season ago. So this is an interesting head-to-head. Herrin, you have to lay minus 144. Bobby Fong is plus 108 on the other side. And the Yamahas, Jason, we had it in our little rundown here. There's been a resurgence of sorts you have Fong, you have Jake Gagne in the mix as well this week. How do you see the Yamahas racing on the Road America track?
Ben, they've been testing. They were in Pittsburgh, and I only say that because I saw a video on Instagram that they were actually up in Pittsburgh, so the work never stops for the Yamaha crew. I think they really feel like they also have a resurgence with Jake Gagne feeling healthy, and Bobby Fong has been a welcome to that team. When you look at those odds, I'm going to go back to what you've taught me, though. I think that if you can get Herrin at plus money overall to win the race, I think you have a better chance there. Those odds, when you go head-to-head, the biggest problems are if a rider doesn't finish or whatever. And the minus money on Herrin, I'd rather take him plus money overall to try to win one of these races. What do you think on that?
100% agree.
Okay.
It's where the value play is at there as far as that. Avoid the head-to-head when you're having to lay a big minus money price. Just go overall race win, especially where we do believe Herrin is live. That is Superbike to start off. We'll talk all 3 classifications here on the MotoAmerica Racing line. So let's go to Super Sport, where you have the Ducati versus the R9 here. How do we see this top speed advantage going, JP, where it has been the Jacobsen-Scholz duel at the top here, Jacobsen and the Ducati, Scholz and the Yamaha R9?
It's a very interesting thing, and you lead me into this in the right way, because in Atlanta, I had a chance to talk to some of the Ducati teams, and they said that they felt like once the bikes get to 4th, 5th, 6th gear, they could run with the R9s. The R9s, Ben, have been getting off the corner better this year, and when you talk to teams, they said the R9's got a little bit more torque off the bottom, and it gets off the turns better. The Ducatis start to catch up at the end. This morning, I went out and watched our first session here, and off some of the slow corners, the Ducati actually looked better and more hooked up to me than the R9. That said, Matthew Skoltz, 6/10 quicker than anybody else. It was Matthew Skoltz and PJ Jacobsen, the two guys we're going to probably talk about all season long this year. They were first and second. So you had, I think it was 2 Ducatis and two Yamahas in the top 4, with the Suzuki of Ty Scott in 5th, as you get to look at the race 1 odds.
What's interesting, again, we were expecting this, right? Jacobsen and Skoltz to top the odds board, but both of them a little bit longer in the odds because of some resurgent performances. We've had a couple surprise winners so far, including Josh Hayes in the wet a couple weeks ago. Remember, at one point, JP, he was 158-1 in Atlanta. Well, now he's under 10-1, so I think the odds makers finally figured out they made a mistake there. I naturally look at this and I go, okay, Jacobsen, Skoltz, there's going to be a battle back and forth all year. Skoltz was about 2-1 in Atlanta, plus 115 at Barber. So I'm a better Jason, who I just tend to bet the number, right? And you're getting a pretty good drift on Skoltz, out to plus 240 now. Yeah. That's really enticing. It's hard to pass up when you get a guy of that caliber who has had a race win last week, was second in both races a year ago. On the R9, they certainly believe, even if Ducati's getting an edge on them in sort of the speed advantages or the corners, Skoltz is still able to wring the neck out of that bike as much as he can. So plus 240 to me looks like really good value.
And I think if you're looking for a long shot, Blake Davis at 8-1, Matthew Skoltz's teammate. This is a place that we talked about earlier in the week where drafting is such a key. If you are within a second of the fastest time, you can draft onto the back of the leaders in front of you. And last year we saw Ty Scott win by, I think it was 1,000th over Matthew Skoltz and PJ Jacobsen. So I think Blake Davis is coming on strong. And at those 8-1 numbers, it probably wouldn't hurt you to put a little something on him as well, because he has proven he's already been on the podium this year on that new R9. Matthew Skoltz's teammate is going to continue to learn, and I think that he could be there at the end of the day, come white flag time, and do something with that draft up to the finish line.
It says a lot, too. Great season for Davis. He was 23-1 at Barber. Now you're getting him as the one of the 4th top favorites here at plus 879. We'll take a look at the head-to-heads. Well, no shock here. We have a Jacobsen-Skoltz head-to-head, but this is kind of a tried-and-true betting principle for me, Jason. It's Jacobsen's minus 139, Skoltz plus 105. If you are betting one or the others in this head-to-head, you might as well go with the full race win price here, because if Skoltz beats Jacobsen, it could easily be 1-2, and you would have gotten a better payout if you bet the 240 anyway. It's a really hard one to overlook. Anytime you see that number 1 plate as a person that's the underdog, I think you kind of got to scratch your head a little bit, because Matthew has shown in every session that he's capable of leading every practice, every qualifying. He's very motivated still. So when you look at this again, I'll go ahead and take that plus 2-1 on him winning overall. The head-to-head against PJ, anything can happen in these races. So, again, it goes back to the thing that you have talked about so often this year. You got to bet the number, and I think that betting Matthew to win overall is the better bet. Skoltz and Jacobsen, a look at how tightly matched they are. I feel like this is not the last time we'll talk Skoltz and Jacobsen as far as the Super Sport classification. Let's go to King of the Baggers. Man, is this going to be a fun weekend at Road America. The Harleys in their home race. Can't wait to see how that plays out. And you get them against the Indian Wrecking Crew, JP. Just fascinated to see the reliability of the Harleys. How will they hold up over a weekend at Road America with so many Wisconsinites coming out to watch the Harleys? Well, the reliability really so far for Harley this year has been pretty good. Now, we looked at the last round with Troy Herfoss, who was obviously an early season favorite for the championship. He comes in here some 50 points behind and had a bike that blew up on him at Road Atlanta. So Kyle's got the biggest points lead in the paddock right now is Kyle Wyman's. This is their home track. But the thing I look at right here is you look at these odds of riders is you got that Indian Wrecking Crew. So far this year, it's been Kyle Wyman against the Indians. Kyle needs to have Bradley Smith, Hayden Gillum, James Rispoli, some of those other Harleys along with Rocco Landers get up in the mix and help him, because right now it's been one Harley against a bunch of Indians. And because of the chaos we've seen in the baggers specifically, Loris Baz gets a win last week. He was 54-1, our biggest long shot so far to win a race this year, Jason. He's still 21-1, a guy who's second in the championship standings. I don't get what these odds makers are looking at. I don't know how you can consistently price Loris Baz this far down. I think we've mentioned his name every single race simply because of the price. I don't get it. At what point are they going to put him 5-6 to 1, Jason?
Yeah, and to your point, Ben, the thing that jumps out to me there is this. Yeah, he won in Atlanta in a rain race, but if you remember on Sunday in that dry race, he gave Kyle Wyman everything he could. He got to see the pace, and he got to be able to run up front. For a guy that's experienced as Loris Baz to come in here at 20-1, I mean, again, you'd have to sprinkle some money on him if you're a Loris Baz fan, and even if you're not, you got to look at what he did in Atlanta and think that momentum is going to continue to go for him.
This is the one classification of the three we've talked about where the odds, whether it's futures, whether it's single event race, they don't really match what has happened so far. And that's partly because small sample size, right? You have Troy Herfoss, who is your favorite. He's sitting fourth in the championship table because of the mechanical failure. Didn't get the start in the second race. So as we'll take a look at his head-to-head now, it's interesting here, and you tend to see this in betting, right, JP? You have the guy with the pedigree. Even if the early results haven't been there, he is still being anticipated to live up to that preseason billing. Minus 139 favorite over your championship leader, who, as you mentioned, he's got him by 43 points so far, Kyle Wyman, yet you sit here on the head-to-head and he's plus 105.
Well, when you look at this, we have less races in the King of Baggers this year. And when you look at what happens, this is almost a must-win weekend for Troy Herfoss. He's got to try to gain some of these points back. Right now, his teammates is even in front of him. Some of our head-to-heads this year, or this weekend, while they're intriguing, I think for the better, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're just going to go ahead and bet Herfoss and get that plus money again. So when you have the two favorites going back-to-back, Kyle Wyman isn't really going to be thinking championship at this point, even though he's got a big lead. He can ride a little bit free, but on the same side, he's not going to be willing to just throw away points if he feels that Herfoss is going to do absolutely everything he can to win. You're going to give up those 5 points, get your second place, and move on. Herfoss has to win this weekend, though.
And certainly for Wyman, just because you have the comfortable lead, when you're talking about your home race and the expectations that come with that, that doesn't mean you're just going to go for a drive, right, Jason? You're still going to go hard at it. I can't wait to see how it plays out here for this weekend. And, hey, I'm jealous you're out there, man. I'll be tuned in the whole way, but have yourself a great time up there. Have some cheese curds for me, okay?
Absolutely. We'll be thinking of you up here, and hopefully this weather holds out and it stays nice. It's already packed here with fans. I can't believe the turnout that we get at Wisconsin, so we're looking for a good weekend, Ben.
For the three-time former Road America champion Jason Pridmore, I'm Ben Wilson. A reminder, go to nxtbets.com/playma to check out all the odds in your jurisdiction. This has been the Road America edition of the MotoAmerica Racing Line. For Jason Pridmore, I'm Ben Wilson. We'll see you next time from the Ridge Motorsports Park in Washington as the 2025 MotoAmerica season rolls on.